Joomla and the mobile world. So Hagen's going to talk about Hagen Graf here, who's all the way from France. Yay, thank you so much. The secret you don't know about Hagen is he's actually German. So Arnold Schwarzenegger will be presenting to you mobile Joomla. Yes. Yes. And Hagen's background, he's written, he doesn't know, 20, 30 books, something like that. He's written on all different topics. He wrote a book on Apache, was one of his first books that he wrote. And ever since then, if he's trying to learn something, he decides he needs to write a book. Yes. So the big thing that he's written lately is he has the only Joomla 2.5 book that's out there. It's a Joomla 2.5 ebook. It's free to download. Anybody can download it and read it. I contributed a chapter to that book.
Yes, right.
Yep. And you too could write a chapter for Hagen's book. You know? Please talk if you'd like to contribute. So Hagen's going to tell us all about Joomla and the mobile world. So thank you very much.
Yeah, hi. So that's me, and it's a bit hard to describe what I'm doing. So that's my Twitter profile. I hope you can see it. So it's a mixture from everything. And as Jen mentioned, I started, I don't know, in 1978 or something like this with assembler, and now I try to avoid developing. So I know that it is possible to develop everything, every framework, every idea, but yeah, so I try to simplify most of the things. And concerning Joomla, I just want to mention a little bit where do we come from, because all these content management systems, Drupal, WordPress and Joomla, they are already more than 10 years old. And 10 years, in 2000 there was no iPhone, no mobile, no high-speed internet access and all these things. And when I'm living in France, and when you go 10 kilometers from the coast, you have this high-speed internet access, and 11 kilometers from the coast, there is no internet. I don't know the situation here in Brattleboro, but I have the impression the internet is still not there. So it is coming, yeah. But when I'm here in the United States, I have a phone, this little Android phone, but I have no card here. And roaming is too expensive, and sometimes I have Wi-Fi, but with these wonderful kind of websites where it is not that easy to access the internet. Okay, and I think concerning the history of Joomla, there was one big step by Marlboro to start this project, and they started it as a commercial project. And the next big step was the fork to Joomla, because the developers wanted to do their own stuff, and then it took 3 years to release the first Joomla that the Joomla developer wanted to have. And it wasn't a real Joomla 1.5, it was just a part, because some people quitted their job and there was a lot of struggle about the new ideas, these model view controller things. And since 2008 there was not that much more, so it took another 4 years for Joomla 2.5. And as far as I see it, the biggest step was the division into a platform and a CMS. So now it is possible to have a kind of a Joomla framework like any other PHP framework, and you can do your own CMS, like the Square One CMS. The guy who... Jeremy? Yeah, Jeremy. Jeremy started a project called Square One CMS, and it is, another Joomla CMS, a better, shiny, easier, I don't know, but it's another one. So maybe it's possible to do more of these. And we have to keep in mind that this project is 12 years old. So, and when you go back and you see just internet users, in 2000 there were 200 million internet users, and 12 years later you have 1 billion. And the interesting thing is here, this is North America. It's more or less the same. So it is increasing, but not that much. And the red one here is Asia and Pacific. So most of these people are living here in East Asia and Pacific. So that is normal internet. And yeah, okay, we had that in the last session. Something is changing. So many people are using these kind of things, and more people are using the easier version. And when you look at these mobile subscriptions, again, here you have North America, and this is the rest of the world. And this is South Asia, and this is East Asia, and Pacific, and this is Latin America. And Joomla was invented here. And Drupal too, and WordPress too, just to keep in mind these things. And when you now, yeah, okay, we know all these, so now we have a lot of smartphones. So what's different? We learned a lot in the last session. I think the most important thing is that the device knows a lot about you. And this one here is also, oh no, it's not possible to make it bigger. It's not only the device that knows something about you, it's more the company or the ecosystem behind that device. So keep in mind, if you use, I don't know, Apple or I don't know, Androids or Samsungs, it is always the company behind that owns your data. And that is different to the internet as we know it. But it has also advantages. So your phone knows where you are, and you can touch the screen, and Siri even talks to you, and all these things. So that is different. And what also is different, they have app stores. And in these app stores, they have native apps. So someone wrote a program in C or Objective-C or a real programming language, and you have to download it, and then it's like a desktop application. And in the last session, we saw that the Apple Store is not responsive, and another few websites which were not responsive. And there was a reason for that, because these companies are selling ads and apps, and they want to force you to download the app. And it's a bit like drug dealing, so the first shot is for free, and yeah, maybe you can buy something. By the way, I do the same with the books. You can download the PDF for free, and if you want, you can buy it on your Kindle. So it's not expensive, but you can. So it's not bad, that thinking, but yeah, you see how it is going. And so the next step are web apps. So you have native apps versus web apps. And the good thing about native apps is that they can use all the possibilities of a device. For example, if Apple has this App Store app, it knows where is the next App Store, or do they have the keyboard I want to buy. And this is also possible on a website, but it's maybe a bit more complicated. So it's easier to do this with a native app on the device. But the problem is you have to compile or develop this for each device. So you have different programming languages, you have different operating systems on these devices. And yeah, you have to make one for Android and one for iPhone and one for BlackBerry and all these kind of things. And the more devices you have outside, the harder it gets to develop these things. And if you think of a web app, it is running in a browser, and the browser in this case is the native app, and you have to develop it just once with HTML5 and CSS3. So for an example for a native app is the browser, and an example for a web app could be Joomla or Drupal or WordPress. It is a kind of a web app. It's maybe not a web app in the modern sense, but it is something that runs in the browser and do what you want to achieve. So when you look at, I don't know whether market share is the right word, so as you know, I'm German and I don't know English that much, but maybe it's enough. So 70% of the websites don't use a content management system. And I think it is not about, is Joomla now 2.7 or 3.2 and is Drupal 1.8 or something like this. For me, it's very interesting that only 2% or 5% of the world are using these kind of systems. So something in the 70% must be easier, or I don't know what is in this 70%. So all the CMSs are only 30% of the market, and 70% is something different. So maybe we have to ask, do we need these kind of CMSs anymore? Or is there something on the market which is different, which is better? I don't know. And one solution could be HTML5. You have all these shiny things like location, video, and everything you need to build these web apps. And it will be a standard for developing web apps, but the standard will be finished in 2014. Now we have 2012. Yeah, so it takes 2 years more. Most browsers already implemented most parts of HTML5, but I don't know exactly the situation on Microsoft IE 8 or IE 9, but usually they come a bit later. So I'm sure that your website with HTML5 and CSS3 will not run on every device so wonderful. Yeah, and just to make an example, what could be this kind of web app, I want to show you this drag and drop thing. So you take these things here and put it there, and they are gone. So imagine if you were in Joomla, let's say these were the modules, and you want to have the module here, or I don't know, these were the articles, and you want to have the article here. So this could be an idea to do something in Joomla with this. Or here, inline editing. Imagine you are on a website, or on a Joomla website, and this is your text, and then you click in the text and you can edit it. So you can write something here, and it's there. So it's easier to use, and maybe it's possible to do that in Joomla with HTML5 in the future. Or here, these location things. So where I am, share my location. Yeah, I'm in Brattleboro, so it knows I'm here. Even the website knows. So my Joomla could know where I am if we would have these HTML5 things. And the typical thing here is a photo gallery. For example, this is a Flickr gallery which is made with HTML5. And yeah, this is the place where I live here, hopefully. Yeah. So it looks like this. Yeah. that's feed to pizza. And yeah, let's go back. And one of the biggest problems always is the viewport or the orientation. So nowadays you have more than, I don't know, 100, 200, 300, 400 different sizes and portrait and landscape and all these things, so what to do. And the pragmatic solution is responsive. And yeah, but the problem is, it is web design. And it's hard because it's about design. It's not about technique. You have to think about what you put on this website. But in general, responsive web design is good and device detection is bad. Because if your website is made for a special device, you have to do it for all the other 500 devices, or you have an 80% solution, like it is running good on iPhone, and with this iPhone I have, I don't know, 80% or 70% of the mobiles. Yeah, and then the question is Joomla still only a CMS? Because it is now based on this platform since January 2011, and Square One is one distribution. I already mentioned that, and maybe we could do I don't know, a mobile distribution or a responsive distribution or I don't know what. So this could also be possible to have not only one Joomla CMS, but to have more specialized things. In Drupal, for example, they have installation profiles. So you can say, I want to have the e-commerce edition, or I want to have the blogging edition, or I want to have a complete intranet. It's still Drupal, but it installs in one step. And this is also possible with Joomla. Why not? And a new Joomla distribution could be based on HTML with geolocation, web storage, video, canvas, all these shiny things. And it could be multi-channel content delivery. So it could be that Joomla is a service-oriented architecture, so that someone can build an app, and in the back end there's Joomla, and they are communicating in the easiest way via XML RPC, or more complicated, more shiny with SOAP services. It could have a specialized templating system, this responsive thing, and here is or it could have location-based content delivery, and here is an example from Magnolia. Magnolia is, does anyone know Magnolia? It's a Java-based CMS, no? It's from Switzerland, and you don't need the sound, it's just to see. So here, for example, this is a part of a website which is only for US customers, for example, and you see, you can edit that, and you can see, okay, this is my output channel for the United States or for other countries. And this is not that complicated to implement, and it would be a nice solution, because sometimes you have a website which is different in different countries, and at the moment it's you have Joomfish for multilingual sites, or you have the inbuilt translation system in Joomla, and yeah, it's quite complicated. But this could be another evolutionary step.
How do they determine your location? Is IP address, or do they use some sort of geo?
They
locator?
use a mixture, I think. I don't know. I
Okay.
haven't looked there.
Okay, I didn't know if you had written a book on.
No.
I just assumed you had. I'm sorry.
No, I know that because I did a lot of Drupal websites in Switzerland, and this was one of the competitors, and they had wonderful ideas, but they worked with Java, and life is too short to code in Java, and Android wasn't there at the moment. So this is the reason why I know this. I don't know how they do it. So to go back. Yeah, and then a big topic is mobile authoring. So if you are on your mobile and you want to edit your text, you have usually no tiny MCE or no what you see is what you get thing, and yeah, you need a solution for that. And the solution could be to have nothing, like in Facebook, or just a blank field. But we have to think about this. If HTML appears, it's not that nice. Yeah, so what do we have so far in Joomla? So these are just a few screenshots, what I have found. And when you look at Joomla core, at the Joomla 2.5 core, you have these template overrides. Is anyone familiar with template overrides? How does it work? Layout overrides? Only a few. So the idea behind all these overrides is that you don't hack the core package of Joomla. And if you want to have a different markup in your template, you can override the output of a component in your template. And if you want to offer predefined layouts in Joomla 2.5, it's possible to create them in your template, and then people can, here it is, here you see it. there's this alternative layout, and you can see here, for example, from the Bees2 template, you can display the content as a book page or as a product, or maybe with 3 pictures or 2 pictures or these kind of things. So that's very nice. But I haven't seen that much implementation so far in existing templates. So it's I think a wonderful way to offer people a very easy to use choice in their template. But yeah, I haven't seen it so much. And it's the same with the menu types. So it's possible to offer specialized menu types. Here, for example, this is the menu type for the book layout, and this is the menu type for the page layout. And maybe you want to have different links or yeah, a different appearance of this. So that is today possible in Joomla Core. And we already have this Bees5 template in Core. Bees5 is a kind of a HTML5 starter theme, and it uses overrides to implement all these markup, because the components markup output isn't HTML5, and here everything is overwritten. And they are using the new structuring elements like section, article, and yeah, unfortunately it's not responsive so far. And the template was developed by Angie and Robert from Germany, and it should have now mobile extensions. I don't know why it isn't inbuilt in Core, what was behind, but I'm sure it is this kind of story. But it's necessary to have something like this. So it is a start, and it was a very good start in January 2011. So now we are 1.5 years later. So it's time, I think, to implement more stuff there. And this is an example for a club template. It's called Elastica from Joomla. It is free, and it looks amazing, wonderful. Here is the demo. But there's always a but. We don't have to do this. No, it's taken too long. So it's this effect we saw in the last presentation. So if you make the browser smaller, then the boxes are hopping around, and it's very, very nice implemented. But I haven't so far figured out how to use it, because it is that complicated. So there is a framework behind. Yeah.
The alternative layout that you just showed on the, I think it was the previous slide, the drop down there, you need more text alternative layout. Where is that? In the back of the Joomla? Is it? It's not in the article, it's not in the menu item.
Modules.
Oh,
it's
under
in modules.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But it's, I think it's also in categories, huh? And in articles.
It's
No,
a lot
it's
of
not.
places.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, okay. It
Yeah.
It
more,
depends.
more and more alternative layouts.
There's a few places.
In a few places.
It's in the template too, it could be in the template manager.
Yeah.
Some templates have that there.
Now the layout itself is located in the template, but it is offered to the user in the backend to say your mod. It's a bit like the CSS class menu underscore something, and if you say I want to have it like this, then it is different, because most or often people don't get the idea of these menu classes, and especially users. So this is a much easier way, and you can do a lot more. So this one I found, yesterday I learned a lot about the constructs framework, so this is another very good possibility. And this I found, and I liked it because it is very simple, and I hope this works now. Yeah. And they have, and I think this is completely free. So when I talk about putting something in core, I think about a solution like this. You see here, this is the big logo, and then it's getting smaller, and then the menu is changing. Yeah, so that's working, that's fine. So it's adaptive and responsive with media queries. And then you have, more or less the old school solution with mobile Joomla. So mobile Joomla is a component, and it tries to detect the device as good as possible, and it does a very good job. And they are doing it the way that they offer a component for free and base templates for free. And if you want to have a more shiny template, you have to pay something. So if you want to have the special iPhone layout, or the special Android layout, or the special iPad layout, then you have to pay something. But the base is free, and we can try that. Yeah, right. It's your turn. Because I set up a demo site at Joomla 2.5 corporate.com, and I just wanted to try, because I come from France, and France is 5 years behind, so America is straightforward, and I thought maybe people like these QR codes, and it's possible to access the site. So there's one. Does it work?
Do up the side.
No, try it, because because I just put the Lego bricks together and thought maybe it's possible. Does it work?
Maybe I get a tool. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get it. Oh, got it.
Ah, perfect. So next step is take a screenshot, tweet it with the hashtag JD12NE. Yeah, because so we can see here. Where are they? So what do we have so far? Smell Joomla HTML. Who is Justin Herron?
Justin?
Yeah, that's the nice thing about these mobile. Oops. No. Does anyone upload? No.
I don't have Twitter.
So maybe there are many possibilities to make the UI better. Will you upload it?
What was the template that you were showing on JoomlaFuture.com?
It's called one web name. So when we go to the website here, it's this one. So and you can try it on your devices. So you have to switch. Because I combined it with this mobile Joomla, so you can have it like an iPhone. So that's the iPhone view from mobile Joomla, or you can have it responsive. And it's always interesting because I only have this little Android because my daughter has now my old iPhone, because for me that's enough. And I don't have that much devices to test it, and it's always a bit complicated with these simulators. So it takes a lot of time. It's much easier to have it on the device. This was the idea with the screenshot. So maybe we have now one. No. Oh. No. Okay. No problem. There's also an admin template available from Admin Praise, but you have to pay for it. It's commercial, and it seems to be everything: adaptive, responsive, mobile. It seems to be very good. I haven't tried it because I haven't bought it, but it is there. And this is how it looks on iPads and iPhones and Androids. So does anyone know this template or this admin praise template? Okay. So this could be also a nice thing for Joomla core to have something like this, maybe not that shiny, but a base of these things in Joomla. Yeah, and then, for example, it's possible to build Joomla web apps. So here, no, where was it? When I said here, with these web app examples, and with the platform now, it is possible to build web apps with the Joomla platform. And here is one that was built, I don't know by whom, I think in Guatemala at the Joomla Day Guatemala. Yeah, okay. So we have no. Okay, they are doing a Flickr browser. Yeah. So that's Joomla.
This is all done with a Joomla platform app, easily made by Mariana here in Brattleboro City. It's beautiful. It's terrific. And if you want, you can check.
And they are using jQuery mobile, and in the last session I have heard jQuery mobile is bad. So maybe we have to do this in a responsive way, or I don't know. But you are using jQuery mobile in the construct framework. Oh?
Yes, but that's.
Is it bad?
Well, no, it's for instant mobile optimization. So if you want to develop a website, and also for it to work on mobile devices, it kind of happens automatically without any effort. Kind of like what Jason talked about, you have to spend an extra 20 to 100% for responsive web design.
Yeah.
jQuery mobile, it's just kind of like, okay, there it is, you're done.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cookie cutter automatic solution.
But more than Joomla thinking.
Well, if your client doesn't have a lot of money to invest,
No,
that's kind of the thought process.
Yeah. So this is possible with the platform.
Yeah.
There's much more possible. This is just an example of doing some things mobile. Oh, it's not with Flickr. It's done with Picasa. And the code is free available, by the way, on GitHub. Who already knows GitHub? Who's using GitHub? So who's creating something and put it on GitHub? Okay. So GitHub is, I don't know, Facebook for developers or something like this. Yeah? So it's interesting to play around, and Joomla is now available on GitHub. And there are, for example, these platform examples, and this is the Picasa mobile example, so you can download it. I don't know whether it works out of the box. I tried it and I failed, but maybe with another example, or maybe tomorrow it will work.
Just a quick question about both the Picasa mobile and what you call Flickr. Is it actually pulling the data from those repositories
Yes.
and then displaying them through Joomla?
Yeah. And it's not that complicated. But the complicated thing is the UI, how do you say it? The connections to are you using XML RPC? Are you using SOAP services? Is there an API you can use? How is the authentication organized, and these kind of things? And I hope this will get better and better and better in the platform, so we see more of these kind of examples. Because, for example, it is possible to extract your content from Facebook, but at the moment it's not possible to import it into Joomla. Why? And it's possible to extract your photos from Flickr or from Picasa, I don't know what your location is from Foursquare. So we should use this amount of data to play around in Joomla. It's not that complicated. And Joomla is about content management, so could be something. Yeah, and then this is maybe the next step. There are a lot of apps, native apps outside that uses kind of web services in Joomla. For example, this is an Android app, and you can access the Joomla administration interface, and you can author content. And yeah, it looks like this here. So you have here. This is a native app on Android, and here you need a special plugin. And this is the XML RPC version. So there was always an XML RPC plugin in Joomla for connecting Joomla with blogging platforms also. So you could put a photo from Flickr or Picasa into Joomla via this XML RPC, and they enhanced this system to get the data from Joomla, or to bring the data from this application to your Joomla site. So that's good if you are on the beach, something happened, and you want to author your content. And there's another possibility that you can use the Joomla system as a service. So this is, yeah, the year 2000 was interesting because they invented also the REST services. Who is familiar with REST services? Say something about it.
You make a call and get a response. I mean, it's actually pretty simple.
Yeah.
The way it works, and it's a very easy way to get around the complexity of a traditional web service.
Yeah, and this is after 12 years not available. It is not available in Drupal. It is not available in Joomla, and it's not available in WordPress. And in Drupal 8, which comes out in 2013, September.
About 18 months. It's what,
18
Drupal
months.
comes out about 18 months, according to the keynote.
Yeah, 18 months.
So.
And they wanted to have Drupal 8 as a RESTful Drupal. And then you have to think about what remains, or what is it? Is it still a content management system? And there are already different, how can I say it, approaches to implement that in Joomla. So for example, there's a company called Tech Joomla, and they offers an API, a REST API for Joomla. I don't know whether it is good or bad, but people are using it for Joom Social, and it seemed to work. And it is also free, and you can download it on GitHub. But it is at this time not in the platform, but I think it is not that complicated to integrate these kind of things. And then it would be possible to have more apps like this. This is called JAdmin. It's available for iPhone and Android. And they do it the same way. They have a plugin or a component, and in the component there is the API. So each company that offers these kind of services has to write an additional plugin to grab the data from Joomla. And it would be much easier for them if there would be one plugin inbuilt, or maybe it isn't that good, but if something is there, so that they can do a little bit stuff around, and then make their money with that. And then there's another extension. There are many extensions like this, Joom Mobile, this one JAdmin, and a lot of things. And if you Google that, you find, I think, 12, 15 companies that start with these kind of things. And they are thinking more forward, so they are offering an SDK for third-party developers. So they get the idea with this API, and they offer their API for third-party developers, and they can develop for their API. But it is still based on this Joom mobile system. And the business model behind is that they sell something that it works better and easier and more shiny. And the good thing here is there is a K2 manager available. So if you have a Joomla website with this K2 content construction framework kit, it is possible to integrate that in your mobile site. And then another thing is Joomla, they are doing customized apps, and they are doing it also in a very clever way. They are developing a plugin special for VirtualMart, for example. And then you can choose from different designs for your iPhone app or for your Android app. And then you have to fill out a form and say, okay, I want to have this logo and this and this and this. So you configure your iPhone app more or less on a website, and then they compile it for you. So that's the cheapest version. And then you have your iPhone app with a relation to your Joomla website, and you can put it to the App Store. And they have now, I think, 15 or 20 examples. There's also an app I found for Joomla Day Chicago. So what's the story behind, Mike?
We used them to build that app.
Yeah, how does it work?
Chicago, and these guys are awesome. they came into our site and hooked it all up. Did it like in a jiffy, and it worked out really well for us.
But the way is you have to install a component.
It works. It's actually not a component. It is an iPhone iPad app that gets submitted to the actual iPhone store or Apple store that you download, and they built it specifically for our website.
Yeah, but
and then he just tied in with the XML plugins that are used for the to do the web app connection with it. But it was very minimal work on the website to make it work.
Yeah. Usually they use a kind of a plugin, a kind of component or something like this, which you have to install in your Joomla site, and then you can combine it with these solutions. And yeah, that's a nice one. And the Joom Social app is for free. So if you have a Joom Social site, you can download the Joom Social app, and then it's more or less like a kind of Facebook. So you have a native app on your mobile, and it is tied to your Joomla website. But it is also possible to customize everything. Yeah, back to HTML5 and CSS3. So you can do these wonderful shiny things I already showed you. But what I have learned when I put this together, first we need a responsive theme in core. It's absolutely necessary. And then we need a free Joomla REST API. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but we need to start something like the language translating thing in Joomla. It was good to start with this, but because now it's getting better and better and better. And I think we need these kind of things in Joomla too. The reason why I do this is Paul asked me in the magazine in a comment what I what I want to have in Joomla, and these are the things I have in mind. Yeah, and then we have to play around with HTML5 and CSS3. So we have already 1.5 year time to do that because it will be standard in 2014. I think it will be a little bit earlier, but if Drupal decides when they come up at the end of 2013, okay, we have a year to play around. Yeah, and then we have to learn from people that use mobile phones, how they use it. So have a look at people who use these mobile devices and how they use it and what they are doing with it. Yeah, that's all. So thanks a lot. And before we come to the questions, I don't know whether it is a good or a bad thing for you. But next week I will be here. No, it's not next week. It is in 2 weeks. This is Joomla Day Iran. So maybe you have heard of this country. And when you look at Wikipedia, it is a country. Yeah? So there are people there and families, and they're going to school, and they have 70 million people, and they have a big Joomla community. And they have Joomla Day in April 12 in Mashhad. It's a wonderful city. And it is not possible for Open Source Matters to sponsor this Joomla Day because it is a US-based association, and at the moment Iran is evil, or it depends from where you look. So it is, so it's not possible to do that. And I was thinking of what I can do, and I asked Paul, and there was no real solution for that because you have laws here, and it's not. We also have the same problem in Europe. And my idea was, if you want to, let's say to give something, give it to me. I can bring it there, and I'm not sure what to do, but we are in contact with the organizers, and we are in how can I say this, in a near contact nowadays, because they are living partly in Dubai and partly in Iran, and they have a big, they want to do more with open source, and open source is, especially in this country, I think very, very important. So this was my thing. Okay, questions or remarks or
This slide deck is going to get sent out. Is this going to get sent out? PowerPoint.
what?
Is the PowerPoint that you just did, is that going to get sent out, sent to us?
Yeah. I uploaded to SlideShare.
Hagen, I have a question about all the extensions that are available today.
Yeah.
If you have a standard Joomla template that's responsive, but and you have 10 extensions that you've installed to help extend your Joomla website, do all of those extensions, are they automatically going to display and format well in a responsive template, or do those extensions need to be updated, adapted, revised so that they'll display well in a responsive way as well? And what's the best way for us as a project to get the word out to those extension developers so that all those 9,000 extensions will work well within a mobile template as well?
I think this is, maybe Matt can say more to this, because I think it's not that big. The biggest problem is this big community component graveyard. So you have one window which is called components, and there you can do what you want. So if the component does something bad or not responsive in this component area, okay, the whole thing is not responsive. It is the same if you use tables in your tiny MCME. It is not any more accessible. But what do you think?
Well, I think that the succinct answer is it depends. It depends on the extension. You're absolutely right. Some third-party extensions take the liberty of setting certain styles that will not work in a responsive environment without you overriding them. Other extensions, they play a little nicer, and they allow you to do whatever you want with them.
But in general, I think it's not a big problem.
No, I don't think so.
And to add to what they just said, a quick, easy, not fix, but if the JED had a checkbox for this is a responsive extension, meaning we wrote the HTML and the CSS such that we do consider, I don't want to say fluid because it's really responsive, not fluid, but we do understand that the screen may get smaller and we need to move stuff around. Because if they use certain styles, like, tables should never be used for anything but displaying data. And tables, throughout all of time, it was even used in templates. I mean, Joomla used to use tables just for styling. That's not what it's for.
Paul, to answer your question on how to approach extension developers, if the JED was to have a checkbox option, for that, that's an instant trigger to every extension developer that maybe they should start looking at this. Exactly. And you know, that's an option that people are looking at and evaluating extensions for. The extension developers want to be in there.
And it's very easy for Joomla to make that change.
So, all right, good. And a follow-up question, if I can, to Andy Tarr. So what is currently planned for Joomla 3.0 that's going to be kind of mobile oriented?
What do I talk about? Well, that's sort of one of the things that's happening. It doesn't get you much higher. Mobile for 3.0, one of the things that's happening is we're now the user experience group, which you can get to information on that at ux.joomla.org. And there's a standing working group for anybody who's interested that is working on the front end and the back end of Joomla. And they're looking at these kinds of things, responsive design, particularly looking at adding different kinds of little elements that people are going to be able to do when they're programming. Be able to make things look more consistent. So that's part of it. We're also looking at web services to do more of the RESTful design that we're talking about. We're in the process of setting up a working group for that. People are interested in setting up kind of RESTful design. We have some students who are going to do Google Summer Code that are submitting different projects that they're talking about doing. It's one of those. It's one of those.
What would you recommend is the best website to go to simulate different mobile devices? I've gone to iPhoneTester.com, but if we're going to be developing responsive websites and things of that nature, does anyone have experience in places where we can actually test it without having 60 devices?
Yeah, I think I have the same problem. Yeah, you can choose between a lot of sites where it doesn't look like the device. So I have no real solution. There are a few simulators outside. Matt mentioned one in the last session for, iPhone is not the problem, so the rest is the problem. I think the best is to have old Androids from eBay. So you can buy them for 20 euros or, I don't know, $30 or something like this. And then you see, that's reality. Yeah?
If you have Adobe Suite, like any of the Adobe suites, there's something called Device Central, and it has a list of thousands of devices. And you can open the device and pull the thing in.
Yeah, but
it's not free. But
yeah, the problem with Adobe is also you don't have the speed. So, for example, this Android is much slower than an iPhone, and if you have, I don't know, more CSS or these, and you see it whether it works or not. And this is different if you compare it to the browser, if you have a simulator. And if you see it on the real device, it's better.
I was just going to say, for Mac users, there is something called the network condition.
What?
It's called the network link condition.
Yeah.
It's a little app that's in the settings panel. You can simulate like 3G network speeds and DSL, Edge, Wi-Fi good, Wi-Fi shady.
Yeah.
And it'll actually lowers the whole computer's connection.
Oh, cool.
You can simulate that
Yeah.
too, and it works. It's application dependent.
Yeah.
So if you're using Adobe or if you're using some other kind of install that, it works pretty well.
What's it called?
Network link condition.
If anyone wants to know a real quick and dirty
Yeah.
thing,
Always.
Windows users download Safari, and there's a develop tab at the top. Click on that, and then go to user agent, and you'll see that you can render the user iOS, iPad, iPhone, being able to turn the browser to render that, so you can do things that.
Yeah, this is possible everywhere. In Firefox,
Yes.
Google, you have extensions for
So
that.
far.
Yeah. But this is possible in Firefox and Google Chrome too with extensions. So that's yeah, okay, that's the quick, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.